Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by.
It's Ham Radio with Neil Rapp. Here we go. Welcome to Ham Talk Live. Call in, let's talk. Neil's your guy. Ham Talk Live. Here we go on Ham Talk Radio.
And good evening, everyone. This is Ham Talk Live, episode number 2. Don Wilbanks, AE5DW, recorded live on Thursday, February 25th, 2016. I'm your host, Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, and thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ham Talk Live. Tonight on the show, my friend Don Wilbanks, AE5DW, will join us. And Don will be talking about some of his work in media, especially ham radio media. And during the last part of the show, we will, as always, be taking your calls live. So sit back, relax, and enjoy tonight's episode of Ham Talk Live. Last week on the big show, Dr. Scott Wright, K0MD, was here. And I want to thank him for being here and all those who listened. If you missed that show or any future show, you can listen to the replay on hamtalklive.com. And that's also on Spreaker, TuneIn, iTunes, SoundCloud, or YouTube. And I think I could have gone another 3 or 4 hours with Scott. I had a lot more that I'd hoped to talk about, so we'll be asking him back in the future for sure. One of the nice things about doing your own show is that you get to choose what happens for the most part. So one thing you'll notice is a little variety. And there are those warm, fuzzy, remember when shows like last week. And shows where we will dig deeper into one particular topic. Some will be informative, some will be lighthearted, some will be serious. And then one or two will be like tonight. Tonight we're having fun. The best guy I could think of to have some fun with on the show is our next guest. You know him from Amateur Radio Newsline, the Newsline Young Ham of the Year Award, some stuff like Gigaparts TV, and a little show they call Ham Nation. He's formerly one half of the famed commercial radio duo Blair and the Fat Man, and his name's not Blair. Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, please welcome to the show the Harry's man himself from Picayune, Mississippi, Mr. Don Wilbanks.
Yeah, thank you. Please throw money, hold your applause, and let loose of the cash. And,
had to get the basketball announcer voice going there. It's
That's
Mr.
right.
Don Wilbanks.
All right.
There we go. Yeah. Hey, great to have you on here, Don. Been looking forward to this. I just, in coming up with the show for tonight, I just couldn't wait to do it because we got some kind of crazy stuff to do. But we're going to start off with the serious stuff.
You started off well with Scott Wright. I got to say, for a premiere show to have Dr. Scott Wright on there, and then went right in the dumper with me. So, you're batting 500, Neil.
Well, we'll kind of split the difference there, and we'll figure it out. But
run an average.
Yeah, Scott and I go way back, and it was just great to be able to do that. So
he's a good guy.
Yeah, he is. Well, let's talk about some of your stuff, because you have been one busy man, especially this week, man. You did a ham club talk, and you did about got run over by water spouts, and Ham Nation, and the 2000th edition of Newsline coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, was supposed to be on the QSO show with Ted Randall on WTWW Tuesday night, but we sat for an hour trying to get freaking Skype to work, so we'll put that off until next Tuesday. So it's been
I saw you were supposed to do that. I meant to mention that too.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, they happen. I'm sure I'll get my share of them eventually. So you've been a busy guy. You've been doing all this, the Ham Nation stuff and the Newsline stuff, and even from Huntsville, you did some Gigaparts TV, and so tell us just a little bit about some of the stuff you've been doing and what you're doing at work.
Well, this at work, what I do at work is I'm what you call production director, which basically means I write radio commercials, I produce radio commercials, both myself, and I record clients or other voice talent who will come in. I coordinate with sales in helping to create new commercials and new advertising ideas. And so essentially what I do is I move mountains, I perform the impossible, and I herd cats. That is essentially
Excellent.
what I do. I got off the air a long time ago. You mentioned the old Blair and the Fat Man days. That was doing an oldies morning show in New Orleans, and we were fairly popular. But I got into broadcasting in 1978, right out of high school. When I was 10, I told my parents I was going to be the voice on the radio, and I've been lucky enough to have done that pretty much continuously since then. So I've transitioned off the air a number of years ago, and I'm now sitting in the production chair. And it's an entirely different creative muscle, Neil, as you know, being a broadcaster yourself or former broadcaster, and I'm sure it's lengthened my career considerably. But I really enjoy the production director aspect and doing commercials. And it's been very busy at work as well because my assistant is on vacation, so I'm handling all 8 radio stations by myself. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
This must be some week.
It is.
All that stuff going on. Now, I understand that iHeartMedia, the company you work for, Clear Channel, recently bought WWV in Boulder, Colorado. And
they're constantly horse trading radio stations. So,
they're making some changes. And before the show, you were telling me about some repeater IDs that you did for a friend.
Yeah, up in Knoxville.
Yeah, we used to do some of those kind of off the wall repeater IDs, and some people liked them and some people didn't. But that was one of the things that I found out about repeaters, and it's kind of like with this show too, that if you do it and you can do it yourself, and then you can do whatever you want to do, and then if everybody follows along, great. Yeah. So give us a couple of those repeater IDs that.
On Kevin Duplantis, W4KEV. He has, his sense of humor is sicker than mine, which is saying something. One of them was because Kevin is bald, so in my best Gary Owens Don Pardo voice, with more coverage than the repeater trustee's hair. This is the W4KEV repeater. You're listening to the W4KEV repeater, but why? My wife asked me, "What's on TV?" I told her dust. And that's how the fight started. You're listening to the W4K. I mean, that kind of stuff. Smart aleck stuff.
Well, we've got this clip here that is what we think would happen, or what happened with WWV if Clear Channel took over. So here we go.
The commercialization of time.
Exactly.
WWV, all the time, all the time. Same time, same station, every time. WWV. 1, 2, 3, 4. Every second counts at WWV. For a good time, call 555-4-WWV. WWV, for the time of your life. We'll be back with the time on WWV in just a minute. But first, here's another minute.
All right. Well, okay. No, they didn't really take over WWV. But this recording, which, by the way, thanks to Doug Grant, KD1 TJ for letting me use that, is actually former WWV voice John Doyle. That's the real deal.
Yep. That's been around forever.
Yeah, I just ran into it the other day, and
It's
but
funny.
I thought, oh, that's great. Yeah,
All the
that's it.
time.
All the time. Oh yeah. Well, talk to us about Newsline. Now, you just literally minutes ago finished up episode number 2000 of Amateur Radio Newsline, and I remember running Newsline off of satellite dishes and recording it on VHS tape and then dubbing it over to cassette and then playing it on the repeater. And wow, times have changed, but Newsline's still there. So tell us about Newsline and talk about how Bill Pasternak at OE6ITF got you into that and what Bill has meant and where things are headed now with Karen and everything happening with Newsline.
Yeah, Newsline marches on. Bill passed away. It's almost been a year now. In a couple of months, it will be a year. It was May or June, I believe, when he passed away. So, just like when someone who's really, really close to you, like if a parent dies or a favorite uncle or something that you're really, really close to, doesn't matter how long it's been since they passed away. It's like every day you think of something to ask them and you think, I got to call whoever it is. And of course you can't because the phone doesn't reach that far. But so there's always something I need to ask him about how he did things and how things should be done and what he thinks of this. But yeah, Newsline is pretty amazing. Like I said, episode number 2000. And it actually went for 37 years uninterrupted. Never missed a week until last year or year before last, I guess it was when Bill got sick, like on a Wednesday night, and could not finish writing the script. He went into the hospital, and so we did not have Newsline that week. And it was off for a couple of weeks, and then he got to where he brought his laptop into the hospital with him and was able to write scripts, and we went back into production. And then he got ill again, and then of course when he passed away. We took about a month off, I think, something like that, just to regroup. But we're back now, and Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT in New York, has taken over the writing because that's the hardest part. It's easy to sit here in front of a microphone and read words off of a script. It's the writing of the script. That's the whole heart and soul of it. I'm just a guy yakking into a yacker.
Yeah, we're the guys that, well, I can read out loud, and I've got this really deep voice thing going.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what we do.
and it sounds really good in my headphones. I don't care if you like it, but man, I'm digging this. So, and she jumped right in, and it was very funny. She basically, we put up on the Facebook page that we were looking for help, and she's one of the ones who went to Skeeter Nash because I was taking night classes during the time, and there was for about 2 or 3 months that I wasn't even on Newsline, and that was right around the time that Bill was sick, unfortunately. So Skeeter took over N5ASH, and I remember vividly. It was a Sunday night. My phone rang. I'm sitting in here in the radio room. I was just on 40 meters earlier, in fact, checking into something. But I'm sitting in here, and the phone rings, and I see it's Topeka, Kansas. So I pick up the phone. It's Skeeter. He goes, "Hey, I've got Bill on the phone." I'm like, "Bill who?" He goes, "Pasternak." Really? So the three of us are sitting there talking, and Bill's voice was so frail, and none of the usual joking. It was we were talking about Newsline, and I could tell just from the way the conversation was going that we were talking about the continuation. We were talking about life after Bill, and Skeeter said, "Well, we've got someone who I think is going to be able to write the copy for us every week. And her name is Karen, and she's a new ham, and she lives in New York." And he's rattling off her resume, essentially. She wrote for New York Newsday. She did some broadcasting as well, I do believe. And all I can hear Bill saying in the background is, hire her, hire her, hire her, hire her, hire her. And so we did. And it's amazing the life that I so look forward to anchoring Newsline and reading her stories because her sense of humor, which is considerable, just leaps right off the page or the screen, depending on whether or not you've killed a tree and printed it. But it's just I love reading her words. She has been an absolute godsend, and so it's kind of the three of us, I guess, me, Skeeter, and Karen, kind of spearheading everything. I tend to get a lot of the attention, and I think that's only because my face is on Ham Nation every week, and I'm probably the most visible part of the team for Amateur Radio Newsline. But believe me, it ain't me, and it's not just Skeeter, and it's not just Karen. It's everybody, and it's you now as well, Neil. As we've conned you into. I mean, we've brought you into the fold. And by the way, we're going to double your pay next year from nothing to twice
Excellent.
nothing.
Excellent.
Yeah, see, got that looking forward. Got that looking forward to you. But it's it's an entire team, and it could not exist without the teamwork, and that was something that Bill that was his talent. He didn't have the best voice. He had a particular New York accent and a bit of a speech impediment, and could be very verbose. So you didn't hear a whole lot of Bill reading, but his talent was in putting people together. And like I said, we just put the wraps on, or getting report number 2000 will actually be posted tomorrow sometime. And I've got about a 13-minute segment at the end of it talking about the beginnings of Newsline and some of the history of Newsline and how it began and how it was put together back in Los Angeles in the early days. And we've got some audio of Roy Neal from 1999 anchoring a newscast. Of course, Roy Neal, the voice of the space program on NBC back for Apollo 11 and Apollo 13 and Skylab and all that other stuff. And the man who basically put ham radio in space, spearheaded the ARIS program for ham radio in space. And it's an amazing history of how it began from very, very humble beginnings to something that has lasted 40 years, and is something that I don't think I'm being facetious when I say that it's something that a lot of other ham radio newscasts or bulletin programs are kind of based on or judged against. It's an amazing thing, and to have been involved with this from almost day one of me becoming a ham back in 1995 is just an absolute honor, and I miss Bill every day.
Absolutely. And I've noticed, it seems like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but in just my short time working and kind of taking a look at the script before it airs,
we refer to this. Like, we refer to this as your indentured servitude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It seems like Karen's writing style has some hints of Bill in it. Yeah,
and she never met Bill and has never spoken with Bill, and she's really she's not happy about that. She would have loved to have gotten to know him and he her, because they're kindred spirits. They're both from New York. But yeah, she has gone back and I mean, she went back and looked at and listened to a bunch of previous Newslines, and yeah, she kind of channels Mr. Pasternak, but she has her own style. She's very verbose, and she just has these little twists that she does, and I just love it. She's amazing. I hope we have her forever.
Yeah, she does an excellent job, and I look forward to doing my part, my little part in the scheme of things, and
good.
Getting things back up on some of the repeaters around here too. Was digging around earlier. I'm not going to play it, but found an ID clip from 1998. What I would do was every week I was recording the thing to put it on the repeater, and so whenever our repeater came up for the ID cycle, and you're on the Ears Wide Area Repeater Network listening to Newsline, I'd save that. And so we would always play those during the ID break. So that way, it was, you're listening to Newsline on this repeater. And then now it's time, to identify your station. And so we'd cover up the tones with, one of you guys saying, This is Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the W9EAR repeater serving Indiana, Illinois, and Kentucky. And we always look forward to that you know,
Yeah.
we would hear our repeater on there, and so that was a lot of fun, and we're going to try to get that back.
And speaking of the
I found
tones,
it on Echolink.
speaking of the tones, the mystery of why those tones are there will be revealed. You'll have to listen to the very end of Newsline Report number 2000. Robert Sudak, WB6FDF, who first met Bill, was one of Bob's first contacts as a new ham back in 1973. And Westlink, which was the predecessor of what Newsline morphed from, started in 1976. So Robert was there from literally day zero, from before day one. And he was very instrumental in helping. I mean, he was one of the early voices of Newsline and helped put it all together. But he explains why there are tones, and it's not what you think. So it's pretty funny.
Sounds like a good.
Funny. We
good
reveal
thing.
some
We'll
secrets.
Have to see it. Yeah,
We reveal some secrets.
some Easter eggs.
Yes.
We'll have to tune in and find those. So, Newsline number 2000 posting tomorrow. So be sure to check that out. And it's time right now to pay a few bills. But we'll be back with more from Don Wilbanks, AE5DW, right after this word from one of our sponsors, the Ham Station, right here on Ham Talk Live. This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by the Ham Station. For 35 years, the Ham Station has brought new and used radios, antennas, accessories, and equipment to the amateur radio community. Give Jeff or Dan a call at 1-800-729-4373 or order online at hamstation.com. Hamstation carries all the major brands like ICOM, Yaesu, and Kenwood. Shop from a wide selection of radio scanners, MFJ accessories, Heil Sound products, Mirage and Ameritron amplifiers, Cushcraft antennas, and more. Easy online shopping and fast shipping are waiting for you at hamstation.com or call 1-800-729-4373. The Ham Station, proud to sponsor this episode of Ham Talk Live.
Ham Talk Live with Neil Rapp.
And welcome back to Ham Talk Live. We'd like to thank Dan and Jeff and the folks at the Ham Station for sponsoring the show tonight to help bring you Ham Talk Live. Be sure to listen every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on hamtalklive.com. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook page and our Twitter feed. Just search for Ham Talk Live. And during the next segment, you'll have a chance to call in and talk to Don. The best way to do that is with Skype. Give us an audio call on Skype at Ham Talk Live. Or if Skype isn't your thing, you can call us via telephone at 812-NET-HAM-1. That's 812-638-4261. Also, want to take a second here to announce our logo contest. We're going to give you guys a chance to design the logo for our show. And so you create an original logo and send it to us. If yours is selected, we will use the logo and interview on the show. So send your 1400 by 1400 pixel submission to logo at hamtalklive.com. Again, that's logo at hamtalklive.com between now and March 7th. And we'll be announcing the winner on the March 10th show. Don Wilbanks, AE5DW, is our guest this evening. And the other big thing that you're involved with is Ham Nation. And tell us a little bit about how Ham Nation got started, how you got into that, and all the fun you have on there.
Well, I found out about Ham Nation. A friend of mine actually told me. He's a ham in Oklahoma who I went to high school with. And he said, yeah, there's this new internet TV show called Ham Nation that's going to start off. He's a big Leo Laporte twit fanatic, and so I have to check that out. So I started watching it around episode 2 or 3, and I got hooked on it because Gordon West is a friend, and Bob Heil is a friend, and it was cool to watch my friends on internet TV, and it was a really good show. And then Bill Pasternak told me, he said, this would have been around, I don't know, week number 10 or 12, maybe. He said, Bob asked me to ask us to do something, a news segment for Ham Nation, and so we're going to do that, and that's going to be coming up like next week. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And so I watched it, and there was no news segment. And so I watched the following week, and there was no news segment. And I watched the following week, and there was no news segment. So I talked to Bill, and I said, I thought we were going to be on Ham Nation. He said, well, yeah, we are, but Robert Sudak, WB6FDF, he's all set up to do the video thing, but he's fallen ill. And I said, well, I mean, I don't know how long he's going to be sick, but if you want me to try it, I mean, I've got Skype. I'll jump on there and do it. I don't know how good it'll be, but okay, great. So that's how the Ham Nation news segment started. I was the first one to do it, filling in for Sudak. And there was no video production. It was me reading a script, just my talking head on the camera. And, it's even professionals have a hard time getting through a 5-minute news script all at once. Especially with, I'd never done TV before, and the added pressure of being on camera and everything else. But so it worked out okay. And then Bob came back. He got better. And so Bob took it over, and I was just amazed at his video production. It was really, really good. And I loved watching it. Plus he's got this deep resonant voice. I mean, he's been a broadcaster since the 60s out in California. So, well, he fell ill again. Bob has had cancer, but his main thing is his back. And in fact, right now he's still in a rehab facility for his back. But anyway, he had to step down, so I stepped back into it, and I've been doing it ever since. And it's been several years now. I mean, however long pretty much Ham Nation's been on. So, but that's how I got started with Ham Nation and doing the video news segment. And like I told Sudak, which you'll hear in the Newsline thing, I'm just keeping his chair warm. I mean, he's the guy. He's the man. But so that's how that happened. So that's how Newsline got to be on Ham Nation. So
and then they gave you the pressure of being the spokesperson.
Well, I kind of adopted that because it's what I do. And so I asked Bob, I said, I mean, if you guys aren't comfortable reading commercials, hell, I do that for a living. I mean, I'm perfectly, and he's like, yeah, go ahead. So that's kind of how I kind of jumped into that. Not because I necessarily wanted to do it. I just thought that, it's what I do. Sure. I'm probably the most logical person there to do it. So.
Oh, absolutely. And all the ad lib and all the craziness. Yeah. It adds a lot to the show. And so
well, thank you.
I really enjoy
I get a lot of emails about Ham Nation, and most of them are literally, hey, I tried the Harry's razor out. I got another one today, as a matter of fact. Guy even sent me a picture. I'm like, so that's awesome. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and yeah, the Harry stuff is good. So there's an unpaid plug for Harry's here.
Yeah, well, we've got another one here coming up in a minute that you don't know about, but
oh, good.
Yeah. So, what's probably your favorite thing to do on Ham Nation?
I really enjoy the news. I really do. I enjoy the news, and I enjoy when Tamitha Scove is part of my news segment. I kind of discovered her. There was a story about big sunspots, and I had been actually paying a little bit of attention to her, and I saw one of her videos, and I'm like, my God, this is great. So I emailed her and I said, hey, I'd like to use some of your video in this and audio in Newsline and in this Ham Nation video thing. And I explained to her, what it was, and she emailed me right back and said, oh, yes, please. And I know about ham radio because the guy that does my website is a ham. He lives in Norman, Oklahoma. I'm like, well, I'm from Oklahoma. So, oh, really? So anyway, so that's, yes, please. Anything you need, just let me know, and feel free to use anything. And so I said, well, great. What I may start doing is using these videos, or at least part of them, in the news segment every week. And it became wildly popular. And then the next thing you know, she's invited by Tim Duffy and DX Engineering and the Yasmi Group to attend Dayton to present to present a talk on solar weather at the Dayton Antenna Forum last year. And if you've not seen that on YouTube, you definitely need to go and look for it, because it's absolutely amazing. She is one of the smartest people I know, and just as sweet as sweet as she can be, and brilliant, and has a lot of fun with this. And her plans are to become a ham, but she has a young child and a very, very heavy workload. So it's all coming. But that's probably the coolest thing is just doing the news segment and being able to introduce Tamitha Skov to the ham radio community, because they have fallen in love with her.
Yeah, she came by the instructors forum at Dayton too, and I was able to meet her out in the lobby for a few minutes. And
she was in New Orleans.
Yeah.
She was in New Orleans last month. Actually, she came down for a meteorological symposium. They invited her to come down and talk about solar weather. So I got to have lunch with her, her husband, and her little 8-year-old daughter. And just awesome. As it turned out, the New Orleans Convention Center is like a mile from my work, so we kind of walked and met in the middle at a really nice little restaurant there in the Central Business District, and just had the best visit. Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, I talked to her about talking to some of the kids at school about some of the solar weather, and they're excited about it. So hopefully we'll make that happen at some point.
Good. But my favorite thing to do in ham radio, period, has nothing to do with operating. It's as a volunteer examiner. I love being part of test sessions. I love being able to sign someone's CSCE. I think that is just, to me, that's like one of the coolest things that I can do, because everyone probably still has their CSCE somewhere from when they got their first ticket or whatever. And you look back on that and see these signatures and to be part of someone's ham radio history, either in the very beginning or when they upgrade, or they finally get that extra, and to have your signature on that piece of paper signifying that milestone or that achievement, to me, is just a huge honor. I love being a VE.
Oh, absolutely. I've done a lot of that too, and it's great. So we have this other thing planned here. So I think we're going to do this, and this is something I've been looking forward to all week. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in ham radio media history, at least that I know of, we're going to play a game show.
You are so starved for entertainment.
Since Don is so much fun when he doesn't have to be serious, and he's probably the only guest that I'll ever have that's crazy enough to do anything this silly, it's time to play the Ham Talk Live version of Would You Rather.
Oh, Lord. All right, let me strap in. All right, I think I'm ready.
Yeah, strap in, and here we go. Okay, so
right.
So here's the first one, and by the way, if you play along at home, you can do this on Twitter. My assistant Nick is standing by on Twitter to post this on Twitter, so you can vote. Just look for Ham Talk Live, and you can vote on some of these. So, would you rather get an RF burn or an electrical shock?
I have had both, and the RF burn lasts longer. So I would rather have the jolt than the burn.
Yeah, that's. I ran this by some of the kids, and they said the same thing. So,
yeah.
Would you rather be locked up in a room for an entire day with Bob Heil or Gordon West?
Wow. See, now that's as much as I love Gordon, I think it would probably be Bob, because some of the coolest moments or periods of time I've spent. One of them was in Huntsville, Alabama last year. Went out to dinner with Bob. It was me, Bob, and Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB. And when you get Bob by himself, I mean, you can see, you see Bob at Hamfest and it's cool and everything, but you're in the middle of a human pileup. When you can get Bob just by himself, school is in session. All the stories from his rock and roll days and talking about, Klipsch, his mentor, and just everything. Just, oh my God. Now, taking nothing away from Gordon, because back in was it 99, 2000, something like that. I think it may have been 2000. My second trip to Dayton. I'm talking to Gordon, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to be in New Orleans like in a couple of months. If you want, I'll do one of my stage shows. If you want to put that together and find a venue, I'll do it for free since I'm going to be there for business anyway." I said, "Sure." So I put together the Gordon West appearance in New Orleans, and so anyway, I got to spend some good quality time with Gordon too. I actually drove around in my pickup truck with a cassette recorder, and I interviewed him for Newsline just driving around in the truck. Gordon came to my house and met Dawn and Tyler. Tyler was not quite a year old. And then we took Gordon, myself and two or three, 4 people from the Ham Radio Club. We took Gordon out on a swamp tour where Gordon fed marshmallows to alligators. So I've had some cool one-on-one time with both of those guys. But I got to tell you, it's so special to just sit alone with Heil and just listen, especially for an audio guy and a rock and roll guy like myself. It's just it's golden.
Sure. All right, we're running out of time, so we're gonna have to go rapid fire here. So
I know I'm long.
Okay, here's the next one: hit by a live turkey dropped from a helicopter, or your city attacked by a monster lizard.
As God is my witness.
Exactly.
WKRP. Okay, dropped by a turkey or my city attacked. I would probably be mesmerized by the sight of this turkey falling on me, that I wouldn't be able to avoid it. But having grown up in Oklahoma and spent lots of time down here, I know how to run away from both tornadoes and hurricanes. So I think I'll take the lizard.
All right. Go without internet for a week or radio waves for a week. Now, radio waves includes Wi-Fi.
But Wi-Fi and internet would be the same thing. So,
well, yeah.
Oh man, do I have to? I don't know. I'd probably just have to sleep.
Okay. Get cut by a Harry's razor or take the wrong person's pill pack.
Oh, I've never been cut by a Harry's razor. So, probably take the wrong person's pill pack, because that would, you don't want to mix. It's like being pulled over by the policeman, and he says, "Sir, have you been drinking?" And your friend over in the shotgun seat says, "Are you insane? Do you think this man is dumb enough to mix alcohol and drugs?"
Take a sledgehammer to a TS-2000 or an IC-7100.
The 2000 would be a bigger target, and I had a 2000 get hit by lightning, so I've kind of done that already. So I'll say take the sledgehammer to the 2000, because I never did like that radio.
Oh, no. Okay, tell your wife that how much you really paid for your radio gear, or climb your tower in a rainstorm to replace the feed line.
Climb the tower.
Oh, wow.
Climb the tower.
Work the sewage pumper truck at the Hamvention or the complaint desk.
The complaint desk. No one wants to be a Rumpke Ranger.
Program all the channels in your handheld manually, or take the extra class test over.
As I'm looking at my Bofang, I believe I'd rather take the extra test over.
Yeah, I think so. Spend an entire evening on 14313 or 3898.
Oh, God. Does the radio have to be on?
Yes.
How much can I drink? And what time of the day it is, because I want to pick the one with the least propagation.
There you go. Well, there you have it, folks. It's the Ham Talk Live version.
Would you rather?
Of Would You Rather.
And thank you, but I'd rather not.
Don Wilbanks. All contestants on Ham Talk Live Would You Rather do not win a new car, do not win a home version of the game, and do not even win a measly box of rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat.
Wow.
Be sure to tune in next time to Ham Talk Live. Would you rather? Assuming we're still on the air after we just did that. All right, gotta go. Coming up next is your chance to call in. We'll try to cram in one call here. You can Skype us at Ham Talk Live or give us a call at 812-NET-HAM1. Ham Talk Live may be back after this word.
Don't count on
From
it.
Tower Electronics.
This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by Tower Electronics. Tower Electronics has been the Ham's dime store since 1978, bringing connectors, antennas, cables, and other parts to the world. Scott and Jill travel the country bringing their store to you at Hamfest, but you can also order online at pl-259.com or by calling 920-435-2973. Stock up on those supplies like PL259 and end connectors, audio cables, mobile antennas, and ham sticks. Their silver-plated end connectors are even in use on the International Space Station. Tower Electronics is a dealer for MFJ, Comet, Daiwa, OPEC, Workman, and Ham Pro Technologies. Tower Electronics online at pl-259.com, proud to sponsor this episode of Ham Talk Live.
CQ, CQ, CQ. You're listening to Ham Talk Live with Neil Rapp.
Well, welcome back to Ham Talk Live. We'd like to thank Scott and Jill at Tower Electronics for sponsoring the show tonight so we can bring you Ham Talk Live. And if you call Scott or Jill in the next 30 minutes and place an order, mention Ham Talk Live, and you'll get the same great deals as everybody else does. Be sure to listen every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on hamtalklive.com. All right, well, we want to try to get a call in here, so call us on Skype at Ham Talk Live or by telephone at 812-NET-HAM1 if you have a question for Don. We will try to get that in, and we're running short on time as usual this evening, so we get 45 minutes on Spreaker without breaking the bank. So we're going to have to do this quickly. So if you want to call in, now's your chance. We're going to have to do this pretty quick. And then we'll have Nick tell us the results of our poll here real quick. But yeah, I don't know, the pill pack thing. I don't know. That was scary.
No, it's pretty cool.
But if you get the wrong person's pill
Well,
pack.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. The idea is great.
Yeah.
The idea is great, but
Great for travel, too. You know.
Oh, yeah. You know,
one thing we haven't talked about yet is Young Ham of the Year, and we do that every year, and we're looking forward to doing it again. And we should be opening up the nominating period probably in the next, I don't know, a few weeks or so for Young Ham of the Year. So we definitely want to get that information in there.
Okay, very good, and we will talk about that before that happens. And
Yes.
Nick says that Electrical Shock is running ahead, and it's pretty even split on internet versus radio.
Okay.
And the extra and the handheld programming is pretty split evenly too. So we'll
RF
leave
burns
those up
hurt,
for
though.
a few days. So
RF burns hurt, man. I'd much rather take the Jolt than the RF burn. Those things hurt for a
they do.
long time.
that they do. Well, Don, I want to thank you for coming on, and we've had a blast here tonight, and as usual, ran out of time, but we hope we'll get you conned into coming back here at some point.
Anytime. This is fun. Yeah, I'm enjoying
we'll
this.
Get back and talk about Young Ham of the Year. We've got tons to talk about with that, so we'll.
Oh yeah,
try
always
to
something new.
Tie in another show and take you away from production for a little while, and on Thursday night, your Newsline night, and get you back here on the show. So thanks again for doing that.
Anytime. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate the invite.
All right. Well, thanks to Don Wilbanks, AE5DW, and all the callers and listeners out there in cyberspace. And we invite you all back next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, when my guest will be Gary Pierce, KN4AQ, the host of Ham Radio Now. And for a list of all of our upcoming guests, visit hamtalklive.com. So for now, with Don Wilbanks, this is Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, saying 7375, and may the good DX be yours.